Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. Thank you for joining me wherever you are joining me. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. And if you're joining me on the YouTube channel, you know what to do. Like, subscribe. If you're joining me on Facebook, we appreciate you. If you're joining me on Twitter, we appreciate you. Shout out to all the people over at Instagram that are joining us. I've got to start today with some fresh hate. But before I get started, I just want to give a shout out once again to my Trench 30 title sponsors, Say Less Sports Tees, and Cycle Bar Midtown Savannah. If you're looking for anything, whether it's apparel or something for your team or something for your business, look up Say Less Sports Tees. Make sure that you check them out. That's saylesssportstees.com. If you're looking to work out, and I know you should be like I am, you want to stay in shape, you want to preserve your sexy, you want to be just more heart healthy, there's no better place to do it than Cycle Bar Midtown Savannah. If you are in the Savannah area, it is great. It's a great location. Everybody can get there pretty easy. It's on the Abercorn. If you don't know, definitely go and check those out. So thank you again to Say Less Sports Tees, and thank you to Cycle Bar Midtown Savannah for being the title sponsors for our Trench 30 offensive lineman skills camp. Again, I got to start with some fresh hate. Ladies, I'm going to apologize ahead of time, but just something just doesn't sit right with me, right? Every time I'm searching the net or I'm looking around for stuff, I see different things being said about, money. And it's weird how money becomes an issue in things when it's women. It's interesting to me, right? And please, if you agree, disagree, whatever, leave a comment. I want to hear from you because it really bothers me. And here's what bothers me. There seems to be this really strange double standard where if a man has money, and I'm not talking about like my kind of money, I mean like legit money. If a man has money, and maybe even if a man doesn't have like legit money, maybe if he just has money like me, but I see it a lot with people who have legit money. That man will have money and they go out and they select the significant other. It's not based off of whether that significant other has money. It is based off of whether or not that significant other makes them feel good, provide some type of need that they believe that they want. It's not based off money. It's not based off of what they bring to the table financially. In many cases, and I've spoken to many men about this, if a woman does bring something to the table financially, it's a plus. It's not a mandate. It's not an absolute. It's a plus. So you can see how strange I feel when I think about the reverse. When women have money, they always are touting that they want a man to be on their level financially. But damned if he makes you feel good, but damned if he's, a great guy, if he's no, for some reason, they level up. And then they need the man to be on that same level. Now, am I saying this is blanket across everybody? No, but I would love to hear from my ladies about what you think, because it doesn't seem to be equitable to me. It doesn't seem to be fair. That seems to be a double standard that we've just allowed to happen. And I don't know why. I don't have a lot of money. But if I had a lot of money, I'm not necessarily going out and looking for the poorest woman I can find, but money's not going to be a factor in whether or not I date you. But I know for a fact, I know women who, if they're out dating, they can't date men who don't have it like they have it. I know them personally. I've seen women talk about it publicly, and I've watched situations from afar unfold where the relationship deteriorated because of money. And I think that's just so crazy. Because I've never seen a relationship between a man and woman deteriorate because the woman didn't have money and the man had money. I've only ever seen it deteriorate when it was the other way around. That brings me to sports, and more specifically, college sports. Because a couple years ago, where the players got real brolic, they got really bold, and they said, hey, we should be getting paid. And the NCAA and these schools said, no, we could never afford to pay any of you. Like, the model just doesn't support that. So these players said, okay, well, let us get our own money. Let us make money off our name, image, and likeness. And finally, they caved. Finally, it became a thing. California signed the bill, and then shortly after, Florida and Georgia and all the other places, until the NCAA said, okay, hey, have at it. But the problem is when you do that, right? And you say, oh, you can make money off your name, image, and likeness. You're not actually spending any money. So I'm confused. I'm confused on why all of a sudden, as soon as the players asked for money, every college team lost their mind and went chasing money. I'm confused at how we have a situation in place. We have a situation in place where every time players say, hey, I'm making a decision based off money, we get people out here going, oh, well, you shouldn't be making decisions based off money. That's not the essence of what college sports were. You need to think about these things differently. And then turn around and watch USC and UCLA run to the Big Ten for money. We watched Oklahoma and Texas run to the SEC for money. And now all of these schools are trying to position themselves so that they can get more money. Meanwhile, they're telling the players they don't deserve money. It's the biggest hypocrisy going. And we allow it to happen. Why? Because we won't hold their feet to the fire. The Big Ten is said to, the next time they re-up, and they're coming up for a re-up soon, they're saying that the next time the Big Ten re-ups, it's going to be $1 billion deal. $1 billion. That is 1,000 millions if you're confused. And the way in which the Big Ten has done it has been smart. They haven't, after they signed that first initial 10-year deal, they've only ever signed short-term deals, which means that by the time that the SEC and the ACC get to the end of their deals, which are in 2030 something, the Big Ten will most likely have signed 2 different deals. So now you're telling me that each one of these teams in the Big Ten are going to make somewhere upwards of $100+ million just off the television rights, but they can't afford to pay players. They can't afford to pay players. Players can't be paid. You can't pay players 50, 60, 70 grand a year. Give them legit money and allow them to make money off their name, image, and likeness, because that's only right. It's their name, right? But this whole, well, players can be paid now, it's a joke because the employer is not paying them. That's the difference. You can't sit and say, well, players are being paid now when the employer is not the one paying them. And the audacity of some of these schools or some of these conferences to try to put together team-wide name, image, and likeness deals for the players so that they can regulate the money. How dare some of these states like Georgia, who gives the power back to the school to be able to take the money that each individual player makes and divvy it amongst players who did not make that money. The audacity. While the SEC grabs more teams so that they can create a super conference to make more money, while the Big Ten grabs more teams, more markets, so that they can make a super conference and grab more money, while the Pac-12 tries to struggle to stay alive, and the Big 12 adds in UCF and teams into the Big 12 in order to pull in more markets and make more money. While all of this is going on, we're sitting back admonishing these young athletic entrepreneurs because they're able to get money. We're mad at them for going into the transfer portal. How dare you go into the transfer portal? How dare you try to change your life because you're not happy where you are? So we don't want these players to go into the transfer portal, but USC and UCLA can just jump ship from their entire conference and go and join another conference, but the players are wrong. How is that not a double standard? Hey, you shouldn't be trying to make money while playing college football, but we're going to make all the money, and we're going to admonish you for trying to make money even though we're not the ones paying you money. Somebody make it make sense, because it doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense because this is not how the world works. I've long said it. Everybody else in the game can make money in college except for the college athletes. For years, they could use their talents that they were on scholarship at a school, take it somewhere and go and make money. It's even bad for the coaches. Did y'all know that football coaches are the only coaches that can't make money? That can't make money going to work high school and or recruiting camps in the off season? I believe it's only football. It might be basketball as well. But soccer coaches can go and actually make money at these giant, combine camps that they have for soccer. You can have a soccer coach come in, a college soccer coach, NCAA, come in and work that camp. But you can't do it in football. The only ones that can do it are NAIA coaches because they're not attached to the NCAA. How is that fair? How do we look at every time there's money to be made and all of these and this overwhelming abundance of black kids want to get money, all of a sudden the world breaks? What? Huh? Is it inflate? Is there inflation in college sports? How about this? This will be the best one for you, right? So USC and UCLA are now going to go into the Big Ten. They're doing it for football, right? Maybe a little for basketball, but definitely for football. What happens to the swim team? What happens to the girls' tennis team? What happens to the volleyball team? It is a nightmare to try to put together a travel schedule for these other sports that don't bring in revenue. See, football is going to bring in revenue. It's the only reason you got the deal. Basketball, bringing in revenue. Swimming, not bringing in revenue. It's producing great alumni that might bring money to the school, but it's not bringing in revenue. So now you have to make flights instead of them jumping on a bus and going from Southern California to Northern California or anywhere in between. Instead of them hopping a quick flight from California to Washington, they've got to go all the way over to Pennsylvania regularly, because the Big Ten is in Maryland and Pennsylvania and New Jersey. The Big Ten is in Iowa. It's in Indiana. It's in Michigan. They've got to go all the way over there in order to have their conference games. How is that going to work? Oh, well, it's going to work because they're going to have a $1 billion television rights deal. That money is going to go to those places, right? No. They'll claim to be poor and they'll start cutting programs so that they can keep more money to push more money into the one entity that keeps making them money. These are businesses. They're not here to take losses. They'll avoid taking losses at all costs. And who gets hurt? The players. The same players that they tell can't make money off their name, image, and likeness until now. The same players that they're saying, we can't give you money. They don't want to pay them. They don't want to pay them. So they've come up with every excuse to try to make it seem as if players are being greedy while literally trying to grab every last nickel and dime that they can possibly grab off the backs of these players. The Big Ten network only works because they get all the sports. Live programming is the king. And because sports happen year-round, these networks, the Big Ten network, the SEC network, the ACC network, they're able to have content year-round off sports, live sports, basketball, football, baseball, hockey if you've got it, tennis, swimming, track and field, and gymnastics. So this network that they create gives you live content all year long. And everybody's got their hands out. Everybody's maneuvering to get more money. And none of it is going to the players. I believe that these schools should be paying these players now. If you're going to create these super conferences where they're going to make even more money, but nothing has changed in the structure, now why can't you pay the players? Now, why can't you pay the players? Why are you saying, oh, well, feel free to give money and then we'll divvy it up to all the players like we're paying them? No, you're not. That money did not come from you. That money came from what they did for somebody on the outside. And I don't care what it is. It's not my business. If there's a benefactor that just wants to hand out checks just because you came to the school, that's cool with me. But the school should not be able to take credit for that. That is off that player's talent and that player's talent alone. This is no longer amateur sports. Why? Because this is a billion-dollar business. The lie that the devil told you was telling you that you were watching amateur sports while your school was making millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. If you want to talk about amateur sports, go talk about D2, D3, NAIA. That's amateur. FCS, that's amateur. When you're talking about Division I football, Division I basketball, that's big business. And now with these Olympic gymnasts just deciding more and more that I'm going to go to college because now I can make money off my name, image, and likeness as well, you're going to see more Suni Lees deciding to go to Auburn instead of going pro and doing the circuit and flaming out in a year or two. You're going to see more of that happening. Why? Because there's money in it. I just saw Suni Lee in a Gatorade commercial. I think it was a Gatorade commercial. Shout out to Suni Lee, by the way. They're making money off what they've done, not what off the school did, off what they've done. And the school is going to have to eventually kick some money in themselves, or you need to keep your hands off the money that they make. It's one of the two. Kick some money in yourself with all of these brand new contracts and new money that you're getting, or stay out of what they're making on their own and just support them. Provide them with financial literacy classes. Provide them with opportunities to talk to lawyers for free. If you want to do something, make the road for them easier, not harder. Don't try to tell them, well, get all your NIL deals. This is what Nick Saban said. Well, we had them get all their deals out of the way so that they could focus on just football during the season. Man, stop it. You know how much time's in a day? You cannot spend all day, every day focused on football. Nobody does. Those guys at Alabama are not doing that. They're not doing that anywhere. Not at Georgia, not at Alabama, not at USC, not at Michigan, not at Ohio State. They're spending a lot of time with football, and then they're living their life. They can do both. There's room for both. But I don't want to hear this BS about, oh, well, these people are so selfish. They're just trying to get money while all of these teams are out here trying to get this money. Who's the hypocrite? It's not the player. The player is telling you exactly what they want to do. They've been saying it forever. Hey, listen, I want a little of this money. If they've been telling you forever, hey, we want some of this money, and now you give them the opportunity to go make money, don't be mad because they're making money. And don't try to regulate the money. That's not your money. Keep your hands out of it. Little fresh hate today, I ain't gonna lie. It's a Friday, but I'm feeling spicy, and I hope you are too. I hope you are too. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me with Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. We do this thing a few times a week. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. If you're joining me on the YouTube channel, you know what to do. Like, subscribe. If you're joining me anywhere else, whether that's Twitter, whether that's Facebook, shout out to the gram. I appreciate it. We'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.